Hello, my name is Sandy Overy from Real Life, Real Women, author of The House of the Universe, and I am accompanied by Sylvie Olivier from Golden Heart Wisdom. Hello, Sylvie, how are you?
Hi, I'm very good. So happy to be with you today, Sandy.
Me too, me too. This is a fun topic. So as we mentioned, if you haven't watched the intro, you might want to go back and take a peek at that. What we'll be doing is we are going through the House of the Universe, and there are many, many different topics within it that are, an integral part of what it is that Golden Heart Wisdom invites humanity to do, to just come reconnect to the heart and come back here. And so we thought we would pick a few of the different experiences that the characters have throughout the story, and maybe go a bit further with what that means or what it is that they're experiencing with your assistance, obviously, Sylvie. So first topic that we wanted to address, that because it's just so fun, and as you like to mention, Sylvie, I do have a very wild imagination. And so you meet the Perceptors in the first chapter of the House of the Universe, where Perceptors basically are these made up characters that that feed off of people's pain, off of people's humiliation, any kind of painful experience. Perceptors can just show up and they'll wrap their tentacles around the person and kind of add on a layer of protection, and they feed off of that pain. And these perceptors have bellies that are almost like a screen, a TV screen, and on that screen is that scene that'll just keep playing on a loop while the person is completely oblivious to these perceptors, obviously, and they don't realize that it was kind of a metaphor for how when things happen in our lives that are a bit more traumatic or that really kind of bother us, how we'll integrate that, and just kind of think, okay, I gotta change this about myself or do this differently to not feel this anymore.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. We're making conclusions about things. So we believe that it's the truth. But the truth is only this layer of protection, as you said. And it's also about anger and about fear. And in humanity right now, if we want to make the bridge, we can see that and feel that there's a lot of anger, a lot of fears. And without knowing it, we are just continuing to put some filters. These layers of protection will filter the reality, will filter all the potential that is available for us as human beings. And the way that you describe it is not only beautiful and powerful, but it's fascinating. It's fascinating to me the way that you received it and shared it, and in the belly, that with the screen, and the way that you describe each experience that the characters are having is really the experience of human beings in their own daily lives. So the beauty is that people will connect with that when they read it, and they will also connect to the awareness and the consciousness behind. Because most of the time when we are stuck in the daily grind, we don't pay attention to that, right? We are running, and we are just allowing these layers of protection to continue to
Build up. Yeah.
to what?
To build up and just
Yes,
accumulate.
exactly. And in the intro, I talked a little bit about the mental archives and the crystallized emotions. So the perceptors are feeding themselves with mental archives or belief systems like control, effort, limit, judgment, impatience, expectations. So all of that we've learned, even when we were in the womb, to perpetuate and to make sure that we were in this kind of reality because we wanted to survive. These mental archives stimulate the crystallized emotions that are stuck in the nervous system and in the glands. So both together, they feed the perceptors. So it's so beautiful to see. Some people want to know more about what's behind and more about the information, and it's mixed with the experience when they can read it in the book.
Yeah, and I can so imagine people kind of in their daily life afterwards walking around and having these kinds of experiences and saying, oh my goodness, this is probably when a perceptor would show up in my life, and sometimes it's, it could be a scene playing back from when we were a kid, something happens in our present day, but it stimulates a memory from when we were younger. And so it compounds. And so, oh, the perceptors love that. They just feed off of it and
Yes,
they're like drooling and they've got their nasty, huge teeth that are just like they lick their lips, and many of the characters in the House of the Universe encounter perceptors. Most of them are completely unaware of them. There is William who knows and sees them, and he always kind of coaches people and saying like, listen, when you feel that there's a perceptor there, just bring your hands back to your heart and just breathe. And he's kind of like giving them the tools on how to protect themselves from the perceptors. And so he turns like completely green just from from breathing and not allowing that perceptor to um,
yes,
latch itself onto him.
yes. And the beauty is that we don't have to be victims, because we may think that we are victims of what's happening on the planet. And we have victims, saviors, and bullies, but we don't realize that the three of them are inside every human being. We may be more like a savior, let's say, because we don't like to see the pain. We don't want to feel the pain. So we want to save everyone. I used to be that way. So I really get it. But I was also at the same time victims of the circumstances, because the more I wanted to save, the more I had to save more people. So it would make sense. So I would become my own bully, because I would really feel guilty and blame other circumstances because I wasn't able to do everything. So when we realize that, we give the full freedom to each human being. As William is sharing, you have all the power in in yourself if you just breathe through it, and even if you don't like what you feel, right? We human beings don't like pain and suffering. So we tend to push it aside. And when we just embrace it, all of a sudden, we are not a victim anymore. We are very powerful.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's what's fun about, and those of you who have read a bit more know how quirky William is, because he's very awkward socially. And, he talks about this, like, Lee, you got to do it like this. And the others are like, wow, that, especially for those who don't know what a perceptor is. And he doesn't talk about it a lot, but it's fun to see, these different perceptors show up in the different circumstances and how each of the characters respond to that.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And really, we have the visual. When we read
Yeah.
the book, we are in the book. We are like in the town of the House of the Universe, and we are able to go through the experience of every character.
Yeah.
It's a masterpiece. This is the first time that I read it. I received it as a masterpiece. And it was for you to just allow it to be this masterpiece.
Yeah, allow it to emanate. And so inspiration has already arrived for a second second volume, so that'll be interesting to see as well.
Yes.
As always, thank you, Sylvie, for all of the assistance that you offered me and that you offer to humanity. You are a gift.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.